Naeem, thank you for coming here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome. Fun to be here.
So the big news is an entrepreneur, an academic, an entrepreneur, an academic, an entrepreneur again now. Good news is, congratulations, you sold the company to Oracle, Bitzer Mobile.
Yeah.
So the buzz is that it was started and sold in 999 days.
That's right. That's right.
So tell us something about it. How do you get a tough nut like Oracle to buy your company?
Well, I think ultimately, the thing is to start with a problem which needs to be solved and get a couple of big prize wins. And we were smart that when we started, problem we were solving was a lot of companies have employees walking in with the tablets and smartphones, and they want to be able to access corporate information. And companies see there's a value because you can make a quick decision, access data, respond to a customer need, so productivity goes up. But the question is security. So how do you authenticate people? How do you secure the data? How can you control the data? So we knew this problem was coming because I've done 6 or 7 companies before. One thing I learned in all these companies that timing has to be right. I was either too early with fingerprint sensors, I was too late with hardware accelerators, so timing had to be right. So once we figured out the timing is right, our main focus was how do we get to some very large customers. So our first customer was Chevron. And that's the kind of company, if you can get them, then it smooths it there. Our second customer was ExxonMobil. So with companies like that, we had credibility. So second part was to see what are the big companies going to do, which has a hole in their strategy. And we looked at SAP strategy and Oracle and Citrix and IBM, and we found very clear hole there. So when we make the connection, actually they approached us in this one, because once you can fill a hole in somebody's strategy, then things can happen quickly. But you're right, enterprise companies takes 5, 6, 7, 8 years to mature and be sold. So we were at the right place with the right time, with the right strategy, and were able to do that.
Because you also teach at Berkeley, and there are a lot of students, who benefit from this. And it's important to learn also that, when you're building the technology and the strategy, we always tell them, strategy first, technology next.
Yeah.
So what would you tell the emerging entrepreneurs when they're asking about the exit, to keep the exit in mind?
Yeah.
You need the network,
yeah.
You need the connectivity.
Yeah.
So you could connect with Chevron and Oracle,
yeah.
But an emerging entrepreneur may not have that connectivity.
Yeah.
So how do you advise them to build the network?
I think you're coming to events like that. You have to, that's why conferences are relevant. And listening to thought, I was just listening to the MuleSoft CEO, he's talking about how API economy is changing things. I'm picking up new ideas. I'm not going to pick up these new ideas watching a ball game at home. So this is how you find out where the openings are, where you can penetrate by meeting people, coming to events. Usually in a given week, I'm out at an event 3 or 4 times a week. So the more you're out there, more you're talking to people, more you're going to pick up ideas. So this is, it's really old fashioned. It's like, can you find the problem? Can you connect with the people? There are problems to be solved. So get out there, meet with people, identify the holes, technology holes, and then we can have a strategy.
One other thing I want to learn from you is when you teach entrepreneurship, it's how do you think we address the problem of innovation in big companies?
Yeah.
So Oracle bought yours, but if you look at other companies like SAP, they have the organic growth of innovation within the company itself. Any model could work depending on what you're looking for, but how do you help big companies, take innovation to scale their own?
So see, innovation is one of the tricky things. Innovation comes from a culture. What you need for innovation is a culture which is fairly flexible. People can shift responsibility and roles easily. When resources are more fluid, could be reassigned as demand. Big companies are horrible at that. Big companies work because there's a structure, there's a way, method. You don't want people to be innovative on an assembly line on a Toyota plant. Do exactly, every car should be identical. So there's a fundamental dichotomy. So that's why either innovation happens either in small companies when you don't have the burden of the production culture, or smart big companies like 3M, they have enclaves which allow people to act like a startup. Apple was very good at that, especially in the Steve Jobs days. Companies like SAP and Oracle struggle with this because the whole thing is execution culture. So I think once you understand the issue is culture, and creating a right culture in a sub-department in the company can create that, then people, so that's what I teach my students. It's all about culture. Silicon Valley works because culture here is unique, different than London, different than Mumbai, different than Moscow. So it works because culture is of collaboration, of sharing, of refining and chiseling away at your idea, and allow people to do that, then innovation will happen.
So I think we're going to wait for the next one to be sold to another big company. Until then, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mateen. Thank you to see you. Thank you.